Bonjour, bonsoir, and welcome to JCB Live. Can you believe tonight this happy hour is with a beautiful, charming, irresistible, charismatic, talented, the true Woodstocks of America. The basis of what America is and how attractive it is to the rest of the world, because she's bicultural and it's Inauguration Day. So there's nothing better than to have wine with her because it flows in her blood on both sides. And she is a great inspiration for all of you ladies because she's done so many great things in the United States and around the world. And she's a mother. She has her own wineries. And she is a phenomenal person and a great friend. So I'm delighted, dear friends, on this January 20th, Inauguration Day!
Happy Inauguration Day!
To bring Jamie Araujo! Yes! And you know, when I get overly excited, wine gets all over the place. So it's fun to get wet together.
It is very fun, especially in the Red Room. Why not?
Wow! So can I say bienvenue, Jamie?
Merci beaucoup, Jean-Charles.
So, dear friends, why this love of France?
You know, I studied France in high school. And always wanted to live in Europe. It seemed very romantic and exciting and exotic. And
see, a Frenchman typically leaves it very wet when we sit together because it's even more intense. But we're going to taste a lot of Jamie's wine, so I'm drying it up because it's going to get very exciting.
Oh, my goodness. Make me blush.
And by the way, dear friend, she was born, of course, making wine as a young child. Her parents are Mr. and Mrs. Araujo, the famous, phenomenal estates here in Napa Valley. So she knows everything about wine too, but we'll go to wine later.
I wouldn't go that far. But no, it was funny. You know, I had these dreams when I was younger and then went to university and things just sort of happened. I ended up doing my master's over in the UK.
And you went to Georgetown.
I did.
What a school. My dream. Dear friends, just to let you know, and Jamie, maybe you don't know that. I went to the French International School in D.C. and the cute girls were in Georgetown. Obviously too young with the little pimples on our cheeks. You French, you start with a disadvantage. Number two, you're too young for us. We're at Georgetown University, but hence, Jamie, the beauty, the charm.
Well.
The most charming ladies were at Georgetown. How come?
You know, I have no idea. I would have said the most intelligent ladies that I knew were at Georgetown. So maybe those two things go together.
That's why I could never seduce one of them. So, Jamie, hopefully today you'll give me a kiss.
We'll see.
On the cheeks, at least.
Yes. Thank you very much.
So you
Not
went.
With this great lipstick.
Yeah, well, I'd love to have it forever to come home. Gina would love to see your little lipstick on my cheeks.
No, I like Gina very much.
And she's watching. She's with us. She thinks we are more attractive than Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Oh, my goodness.
So I think we should have a toast to that. Well, if we can get your attention for a little while, it's unique. So you went to Georgetown. Why is that?
Because I wanted to study languages and linguistics, and that was really one of the best places to do that in this country. And then I started working in medieval studies.
That's amazing.
Sort of. You know, it's absolutely fascinating and fairly useless. I mean, in terms of
it's
a job.
Fascinating.
But it's fascinating. It's
so
amazing.
What should all of us know and learn from medieval times?
What you should learn and know from medieval times is that most of what you were taught in school is actually wrong. And in fact...
Could that happen?
In fact, especially in the British Isles, it was a time of incredible social change and upheaval. It's very interesting. There are huge parallels to a lot of things with the Industrial Revolution and then later on with the Technological Revolution. You see these things.
Yes.
And a lot of people were moving away from their little homesteads into cities for the very first time. So it's a very fascinating time in terms of women and their roles in the family and in the cities. It's much more exciting and much less feudal than people tend to think.
We need to have you again and focus a whole session You know why? Of what happened at this time in the world of wine in Burgundy and the Rhone Valley and the Beaujolais and Alsace, because medieval time were actually quite unique in terms of really the development of those areas, right?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it another time. So Jamie studied medieval studies. Then you went to Europe.
No, actually, I studied in Europe. I studied in the UK, and then realized that the dynamic career that I had imagined for myself was not going to happen in medieval studies. And I went to drama school, in fact, in the UK.
Very cool. So acting.
Yes, so I was an actor in London for 7 years.
Theater?
Yes,
yeah,
almost
I would see you
exclusively.
amazing on stage. So what was your favorite act?
I really love new writing. When you're working with a director and a writer for the very first time, creating a character no one has ever seen before.
Yes.
I think that's just a fabulous creative challenge.
So you would be with the writer defining the play and then playing it.
Yeah, so the writer writes it, brings it into the director, and then it's the first time it's ever been performed before. And you get to sort of make that your own, which is pretty special.
So aren't we all actors on this planet?
The world is but a stage.
Shouldn't we all study acting in some way, shape, or form?
Ironically, it is one of the things that I did in my life that really prepared me the best for a lot of what I do today.
For sure.
Because there's so much of it, and not just in presentation and things like that, but specifically with theater, you really have to learn to read the energy of a room.
That's right.
And the energy of people and the energy of an audience. And you need to be able to kind of play with that and surf that. And, all of you know perfectly well, you do it better than most. More than many.
I believe, as you do, that life is a theater. So as I'm serving you, one of the wine you brought me in Paris, which we adored.
Yes.
We sent you a picture.
You did.
With Gina, because we adore this wine. This is your baby, and you'll tell us about it. But give us the meaning of life is a theater. Do you believe in that?
Life is a theater. I mean, I think, yes, as long as you understand that theater is life.
Yes.
That we're all doing the best we can, and we're all doing what we can. We're all living our own stories.
Yes.
And we come in to each other's stories, into each other's stages at different points, and play a scene or an act or an entire play. And then, I think it's I think it's a wonderful metaphor for life.
Do you actually believe the play is already written? Ooh, we're getting deep as early as the first wine. Can you imagine where we're going, dear friends? Inauguration day, we'd better,
Very
toast
true.
to a new life.
It's a big day. Is the play already written?
Well, I'm a firm
The play may already
believer
be written.
in destiny, so that's why I say that. I think we all send with a mission. We discover possibly our mission early or midlife or later in life, and then we somehow are guided towards it and we play a role, because I believe we all sent here to play a role. 8 billion of us, or maybe 8.5 by now. After COVID, there's a lot of birth happening, so I don't know about where the natality rate is, but I feel it's somehow written. But maybe you differ from that thought.
No, I think that the play is already written, but then we get to decide how that first performance goes.
Yes. And do you think that first performance obviously trigger all the others, or do you think you eventually change the course?
I think you do. But I think you always have a chance to change the course, right?
Yeah.
Every time you come back on stage, you have another chance to change things and do things differently.
Yeah, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
Because if life was a fatality and we know it's written and we cannot do anything about it, what the hell?
What's the point?
Yes. Do you believe in hell and heaven?
I believe that
Because
hell is other people.
We're tasting Trois Noix, the three nuts. So what is the three nut and where they're going?
No, I think I definitely believe in a larger experience and presence than our own.
Yes.
For sure. That we can't really understand. I mean, I think heaven and hell are concepts that people create in order to try and understand things that we can't quite get to in our own minds. So, yes.
Yeah.
And
Well, I'm very concerned because I don't have a lot of friends in heaven. They're all in hell, I believe. If what we believe, so I don't know where I'm going to go.
No, well, see, this is the whole point. I think
Yes.
you have every reason
To go.
to believe that maybe those things have sent you to heaven instead.
Yeah. Well, it's a very thoughtful and difficult thing sometimes to explain.
Yeah.
And in medieval time, we were obviously guiding people to a certain school of thought so they would not derail from the school of thought that was, recommended in
Yes.
order to build what we've built thereafter. So it's an interesting idea of manipulation and how we look at what we say so people act in a certain way.
Absolutely. No,
It's all back to acting.
Well, back to acting and also back to power. I think that
Yeah.
that even today you see things and institutions, to your point, that try and get people to believe a certain way so that they can hold on to power. And I think, I didn't invent the quote, it was Machiavelli, but power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yes.
I think if what you're doing is trying to hold on to power, then you need to ask yourself a different question.
So read Machiavelli, one of the best of all time. And certainly we had a few examples in the last decades of what,
Just saying.
his influence was. So obviously we're tasting a wine. So let's dive into this because this is amazing wine. I'm so excited you brought it. You were born and raised into the world of wine. Has it defined the fact that you're making this wine today?
I think it's definitely, so whether it's the family wine or whether it's my project, having it in my life and in my family for such a
Yes.
long time certainly informs the choices that I make and the reasons that I do things. And I think, spending 24 years in Europe is one of the reasons my wines taste the way they do.
That's right. Because you spend equal amount of time in Europe as you have in the United States.
Up until
really.
last year.
That's right. So maybe more time in Europe. So you were raised, explain your beginning, born in California.
No, actually, born in Boston, which is a little random. But my
Parents in real estate originally.
Well, my dad was actually going to school at the time. I came along a little early. And so I was born in Boston. And then we came back to California because my parents are both California people.
Yes.
And he had his first business in the real estate development business and did incredibly well, was very successful, and decided after he sold that company, he and Daphne decided they wanted to move back up to the Bay Area because that's where my dad was from.
Sure.
And they're not really city people, so they wanted to live in the countryside. And, in the 80s, the countryside was Napa. So they started looking at Sonoma and Napa. And long story short, they managed, with the help of Gene Phillips, in fact, of Screaming Eagle, who was their real estate agent, of all things, because that was her first business. They managed to find the Islay Vineyard, and they had that and made Araujo Estate and made those wines for about 23 years, which is pretty extraordinary.
Amazing success. They sell.
Yes, to the French.
Happiness of sadness.
A little bit of both.
Yes.
My dad says often that it was the right buyer at the wrong time.
Huh.
But they always felt that they were really stewards of that property and not owners. So when they felt that there was someone who farms biodynamically,
Yes.
as we all do,
For sure.
and who had the reach and the breadth and the experience to be able to move that property to the next level, they felt it was the right thing to do for the property. And then, that allowed us to actually start Accendo with my brother and my
That's
parents
right.
and ourselves. So that was really wonderful. And then I moved back from Europe.
After an exciting year, we'll go back to that, but you started this amazing wine. And I'm a huge fan, dear friends. If you like, let's say Aubryon.
Oh,
Because I would...
that's
I
a
would-
little fancy for us.
Well, why? It's Sauvignon Blanc Sémillon coming out of Bordeaux, which is nice.
It's pretty.
This is outstanding. So tell us about the three nuts and how you started. Because, dear friends, what is so exciting with Jamie is entrepreneur, great scholar, takes risks, moved to Europe, live in Europe for 12 years. She'll tell us about her life there briefly because it's a huge life with a major company, and then comes back to Napa Valley with her children, starts her own business as well.
Yeah. Well, it was wonderful. So I came back really for Accendo and
Yes.
then had an opportunity, originally with my brother and then by myself, to make my own wines.
That's right.
And, I'd been an entrepreneur for a long time.
That's
and,
right.
you know as well as I do, when you're an entrepreneur, there are certain things and freedoms and I love taking risks and being able to capitalize on an opportunity and pivot and do things really, really quickly. And this was a project that would allow me to do that. So it started off very modestly. It was actually kind of whatever anybody had left. And
Left as a grape or wine,
or grape
right?
or wine,
That's
exactly.
right.
And so they would say, oh, well, we got this. I was like, oh, actually, this tastes really good. So cool. I'll blend this with this and do this. Da, 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 da. And then it grew to actually having my own grape contracts with my own grape growers and then having an amazing team, which I just started up last year, which is so
Congratulations.
fabulous.
Yeah, I think the advantage of having great people, isn't it amazing?
Oh, it's extraordinary. It just, you talk about taking something to the next level. I could not do anything.
And we say that versus being alone. Don't you think having great quality people around you to be able to, ascend, right?
Yes.
And go further is essential, isn't it?
No, for sure. It is.
And so why the name?
So when we were first, starting out, we needed a name.
Yes.
And names are the hardest thing to do. And it turned out, actually, it's a very silly story, but it turned out that even though I was having my children over in France and my brother was having his children half a world away, the sort of third generation of our family, we called them Peanuts when they were little. Mm-hmm. I have two and he has one. So it's our little third generation Peanuts.
That's so great. And of course, in French, Trois Noix means the three
nuts. Yep.
So this is outstanding. So give us a little bit of a guidance on each of the wines so we can make you all jealous and you can order the wines through Jamie directly or, of course, the Oakville Wine Merchant.
Yes.
Because we're very excited to be able to represent those wines because what is exciting with the Oakville Wine Merchant is to be able to bring everybody from Napa Valley in one place and to be able to promote entrepreneurship, femininity, because those wines speaks volume. And I know there's a big dilemma always. Wine is masculine, feminine, but there's an underlying style to a feminine wine. And I think we should talk about that tonight.
Oh, dear.
And I will give you my definition of what it is.
Well, and I would just say as an aside that we here in the Napa Valley are very, very grateful and pleased that you did take on the Oakville Grocery and started the Oakville Wine Merchant.
Thank you so much.
Because that is a huge part of our valley and our history.
Thank you.
And having someone who values it
Thank
and
you so
who
much.
really has taken it sort of to the next level.
Thank you.
Is pretty wonderful.
Well, and with the Wine Merchant, when you think about it, we really brought it back to what it was. It was the first historical wine shop in Napa Valley in 1881, having a few bottles because it was cellar door at the time. But give us that blend because this is phenomenal.
So
we had it in Burgundy, as you telling us that, with two things. White asparagus with hollandaise sauce.
Perfect.
And it was Christmas 2 years ago because we got to see each other there at the time. And then there was a little bit left and we had it with foie gras. So it was the ultimate indulgence.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, with the Sauvignon Blanc, on the Accendo side, it is Sauvignon Blanc, Sauvignon Muscat, and Semillon.
Yes.
So it's a little bit more, has a little more gravitas. And with the Trois Noix, it's Sauvignon Blanc and Sauvignon Muscat. But I really love my Muscat. So for those who don't know, Sauvignon Muscat is a clone of Sauvignon Blanc, but that's a little more on the exotic side, the exotic fruits. So you get some of that guava and pineapple. But with all of the wines, we really want to maintain freshness, maintain balance, maintain a light touch.
Yes.
And so the minerality is really important. The acidity is really important. Having that beautiful fraîcheur. As they say.
And it's rare to find Sauvignon Blanc with a few other influence of that caliber. So I commend you. And mention Aubryon because it's always been one of my favorite in Bordeaux. And I don't mean to be snob because it's so well known, but it's so great. And it's well known because it's great. But this is outstanding. And I'll let you finish.
Ooh.
I'm going fast because we have a lot of wine to taste, but maybe we should do even the Accendo, or shall we go to the...
Would you want to taste the Accendo Sauvignon Blanc?
Yes.
So you can see.
So I'll do that. I'll be a terrible boy.
I know, I'll be a terrible girl.
I know. I'll do that. So tell us as well, Jamie, your life in France and in Europe as a single woman. You graduate.
Yes.
And then, you decide, okay, what do I do? And give us...
Well, it's really funny because when I look back on it, it looks like a very linear journey. Like everything was planned. Absolutely nothing was planned.
I see.
Was all completely... I firmly believe that if I'm in the right place, doing the right thing that I'm supposed to be doing,
yes,
the universe opens doors and makes things easy.
For sure.
Right? So I was
So that's
an
a little
actor
bit
in
of
London.
that destiny we were talking about.
For sure. I say it's my guardian angel who works overtime, for sure. But yeah, I was working as an actor in London, and I got to a point in my career where I realized that there were certain ethical and physical sacrifices I was going to have to make if I really wanted to be successful. And thankfully, I had the presence of mind at whatever, I was 28, 29,
yes,
to be able to say, yeah, no.
It's not what you want to do.
Sorry.
And it's totally cool, I think, in life to realize, and many of our friends with us tonight are saying, is it what I want to do? I've been doing that for 20 years or 30 years or 10 years. Is it the direction I want to take? Yeah. Don't you think it's so cool?
Definitely. It's so important.
So how did you succeed to transition?
It was funny. I, again, thank you, Guardian Angel, but I had a fabulous drama teacher who said, if there's anything else in the world you love doing as much as you love theater, go do that, because theater is a very ungrateful thing to do. And so I started thinking, is there anything else that I really love? And my life was always trying to balance sort of the intellectual and the artistic.
Yes.
And I thought, wine kind of does that, and I kind of love it. And the one time I worked in the wine industry, back at some summer between 2 years of college, I had the most fabulous time. So maybe... Anyway, and I ended up getting a temp job for 2 weeks. And then the day I left, that morning, there was a position that opened up. And I went in and said, this is the job for me. And the HR woman was like, are you insane? I was like, nope.
From a big company in
Moet Hennessy
in France. I mean, amazing.
Yeah, Moet Hennessy. So started work with them, and I worked with them for a few years, and they moved me to France, actually. And I ended up in France
And then you started your own.
And then I went to business school and came out, and I felt really passionate about wine marketing.
Yes. What made you want to go again to business school? Because you had almost so many degrees.
Well, so I sort of realized after a couple of years at Moet that I did really love it.
Yes.
That it really was my passion.
Great.
And that I wanted to keep doing it. But I was in competition with people who either had those 7 years that I was on the stage as 7 years of experience, or an MBA.
So catching up with the degree and with...
And it was good. It gave me a great foundation in things like finance and statistics and all of that.
Yes.
Stuff.
All that sexy stuff. Ooh.
Very sexy stuff.
Ooh la la.
I do love my numbers, actually. I'm a complete...
Well, you have two sides of the brain that are working so well, the creative, and congratulations for that. So you did that, and then you decided the big corporation is not really you. You started your own firm.
So I came out, and at the time, I wanted to do marketing in the wine business, and I wanted to stay in France. And apart from champagne, nobody was really interested. Marketing was something that you did with toilet paper or toothpaste. Yeah. Or it was lies.
So the big consumer
goods
stuff.
No, actually.
Yes.
You were very much on the forefront of this.
Well, but always loving...
it's hard to move.
And what impresses me is as a woman, and I say that with an amazing mother, incredible grandmother, fabulous sister, who is incredible today as well, and still, 25 years later in the business, not easy. In
Not easy,
France,
but-
as a woman, starting your own business.
Absolutely. And in retrospect, had I realized
Yes.
that, I might have gone about things differently.
Yeah.
I was looking at my experience in the wine industry, which is here in Napa, from amazing women
Yes.
like Beth Novak and Françoise Péchon
Yes.
and Jean Phillips.
Of
All
course.
of these incredible Kathy Kors. I mean, I could go on and on.
Yes.
It never occurred to me that my place was not at the wine table. I was like, dude, this is a total girl thing. Like, I'm good.
Yes.
And it was marketing and strategy and all the sort of artistic touchy-feely stuff. So I just walked into the room like I had every right to be there because I felt I did.
Yes.
And I don't think anybody nobody had the ability to be like, no. They just were like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I guess you can stay. Being American actually helped too,
Great.
because I could be like the crazy American lady, right?
Yes.
It was very easy to had I been French, I think it would have been much more challenging for me.
But your French is so much like a French woman. Could you fake your American accent? Are you really American or are you really French?
No, I'm really American.
Really? I'm not sure.
Oh, si.
She's actually both, but
I actually am.
Yes.
These days. But yeah, so, I started my own company doing marketing, strategy, branding, that sort of
Yes.
thing. And I really, it was throw it up against the wall and see if it sticks. I had no idea. And within 6 months, I had my first few clients.
Congratulations.
And within a year, I actually had California calling me and saying, hang on, you're doing this for all these like French brands. Can you do something for us?
Isn't it exciting? I want everybody to put that in perspective because it's not easy in life to change your path.
Ooh.
And furthermore, to start your own business. And finally, and I hate to say that, but we have to recognize as a lady, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, was not as easy to start your own business in that wine and spirit world, and you did it. So
Especially. And had 2 babies while I was doing it.
So how do you do all that?
I love
Why
what
are
I
women
do.
so good at multitasking?
Because we're awesome.
Yes, well, that we know. I'll have a toast to.
No,
Hey, I don't know which one I like, but and your
They're-
mother is watching, so she's going to be very mad at me if I say it's not to prefer. They're both
will.
different styles.
they are. They're very different
Right?
styles. They're very different styles. And I think the wonderful thing, and this is something that I love about wine generally, is that you don't have to choose. Right?
Yes.
It's not one bottle and that's it. It's the different bottle for different occasions
That's
and different
it.
moments in life.
They both incredible, dear friends.
Oh, well, thank
And you both need to have them because the world of Sauvignon Blanc is phenomenal and intricate and unique, right?
Absolutely. And I think, Sauvignon Blanc in the Napa Valley used to be just a cash cow, right? Because Cabernet took such a long time to come out. Everyone was like, right, make a little white wine,
Well,
get some money in.
absolutely.
And as a serious wine, my parents were one of the first
Yes.
ones, along with Spotswood and a few others, to say, no, actually, we can make really, really serious Sauvignon Blanc here. And so that's a huge inspiration. For
Well,
sure.
talking about inspiration and women, and we need to go back to that question because I think we probably have many, many, many great ladies watching us tonight. And,
Hi, ladies.
and again, replaying it because it's so important. Women have such a place in wine. How much of a role did Daphne, your mother, who is a phenomenal lady, incredible charm and charisma and drive, played with what you've become?
Wow. I think definitely. I think I am so lucky to have parents and mentors and these extraordinary people in my life who have all given me guidance and examples and
Yes.
role models for sure to follow.
And why, as a woman, and I'm going to go right deep into it, you're so amazing. You said it. You're amazing. And I'm certainly one of the biggest supporters of women in the world of business and in any world because they've been my inspirations literally since birth. And I say inspiration with plural. I refer to my grandmother, mother, still living and amazing.
Yeah.
To many others, my lovely wife Gina, my daughters. Women have that ability. What makes women, Jamie, as you, mother, entrepreneur, winemaker, businesswoman, all of that, being able to really manage so many things with success?
I love doing it.
Yes.
I really, really love what I do, and I love the challenge, and I love the excitement, and I love working with all the people I get to work with.
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the things for me, particularly, we always say it, at Trois always say it's about community, opportunity, and possibility, and it starts with community.
Yes.
Really. And I love how wine brings people together. I love how some of the things that we're doing in our community are, helping our community and bringing it closer together and making it a better place. And the fact that we can do all of that
Yes.
with this wonderful, and
No, but women
this
have a
kind of
true
fun at the
ability
end.
to multitask and to multitask well.
I think we haven't had much of a choice, to
True,
be honest,
true.
for a
And
very
that's
long
maybe
time.
why you're so good at it.
Well, yeah. I also think that sometimes, and I don't include you in this, obviously, but I
thank
do
you.
think sometimes we get these sort of compliments about how wonderful it is that we multitask so well in order to induce us to keep doing all of the tasks and not hand some of them over.
Well, and I'm sure, Jamie, but I wonder if you wouldn't, with the world, I mean, we are in the Red Room. Stephanie Putnam is our director of winemaking. We've interviewed 35 winemakers with Walter Raymond, phenomenal, good old boy of Napa that I adore. And we thought this winery needs to be led by 3 women. Kathy George, assistant winemaker, Stephanie Putnam, director of winemaking, Sophie Drucker, running the vineyards. And it has made an enormous difference on the style that I was referring to earlier, as far as soft and elegant with power. And I don't know if you've watched The Crown. Have you watched
I started, and I haven't gotten to. I need
there's
to
one
keep going.
part where Margaret Thatcher comes in, and you were educated in London. I was as well, and at university she came at London Business School to speak.
Oh, wow.
And I got her to autograph my book, and I adored her. The daughter of a baker, never sleeping, always reading under the sheets, hiding, waking up when her father was to bake the bread, and to really become the woman she was, and with this amazing iron fist, as we know, really building back the UK as it should. And only a woman at the time could have done it in many ways. And, what is your view today? It's Inauguration Day. Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States.
Yes.
What's phenomenal, isn't it?
It's phenomenal. And honestly, whether you agree with her politics or not, and whether you agree with her policies or not, I think it's just such an extraordinary thing. I was sat talking to my children when the election was over, and I started trying to explain to them the weight and the importance of seeing a woman in the White House in my lifetime.
That's right.
And I just cried. I couldn't even help myself. I said, God, it's extraordinary. I mean, the power of that. And to have her be an Indian Black woman as well.
Fantastic.
That as a symbol to generations of children is irreplaceable.
And that it happens as well in the United States, finally, is about time, as we say.
Yes.
But there's always time for time, and time gives us time to think of time when the right time is time. It's a long way to say it, but now is the time. So let's have a toast to her, because our friend Nancy Pelosi is our neighbor.
Indeed.
So we need to have a toast to Nancy
Definitely needs
as well.
a glass of wine or two at the moment, I think.
Between Nancy, who is our neighbor on Zinfandel Lane, because you got to realize, dear friends,
we're neighbors.
Wheeler Farm is on Zinfandel Lane. We are looking at each other, and we love each other, and we are a very happy family.
We are. And actually, we're very, very lucky to have Jean-Charles as a neighbor, and always have just been very thankful that he's our little person we wave across the street.
Well, we always wave. Talking about someone who comes from Chardonnay land.
Yeah, I was going to say. I'm a little nervous coming from Burgundy.
Well, and this is the closest to what I know in Burgundy. Beautifully managed oak.
It's pretty. Well, because we really use almost no new oak at all.
Yes.
It's all neutral, and it's all French, obviously. But there are other things, you know. I really feel strongly about picking a little earlier. We have a fabulous site that we work with down in Oak Knoll. It's nice and cool
Yes.
and crisp. And yeah, we pick when the acids are a little higher. Like with this particular wine, we'll do 1 week, we'll do
Yes.
half, and the next week we'll do the other half.
Yes.
So you get that acidity first, and then you layer in a little bit more of the complex aromas. No malolactic fermentation ever. And yeah, just trying to keep it really
Yes.
bright and fresh.
That's beautiful.
Nice mineral core.
So what
really
would you
nice.
pair it with? Because I know you're a great chef. I know.
No, this is funny because we were talking with the team today. I was talking with Alicia, and you know, she had all these amazing pairings, and I said, well, should we do something that doesn't have butter in it? I mean, I love butter, but maybe. And she's like, but Americans really love butter. I was like, yeah, they really do. Actually, you're right.
Well,
But
who doesn't?
for
Hey,
sure.
remember.
For sure.
You
So
remember
butter poached lobster.
Ooh, I love that. And you know what
definitely
I'm
a good one.
thinking even?
Yeah.
Endives with a little goat cheese and just nuts on top.
Perfect.
Just
Perfect.
fresh, coming out of the garden.
Yep.
Here it is. Because that makes me think of a Chablis Premier Cru au Grand Cru.
Yeah.
You know, that
is the nicest
beautiful
thing you could
essence.
say.
Well, you know, this makes me nuts. Ooh, did I say that?
We're all a little nuts.
We all- did you really say that?
We're all a little nuts.
I don't feel insulted. Big
No.
nuts, big nuts. So on that note, Jamie, well, it's inauguration night. We're going to be a
is.
little wild, right?
It is.
So
Big day.
tell me about your family
Yes.
and how is it to work as a family business?
You know,
Because you have a great history,
Yes.
phenomenal parents that I love. Your brother is a fantastic man, and you are together making such a great, you know, phenomenal family association, and you have all those great things. So how is it to do that?
you know, it's really wonderful. We're so lucky. And I think, generally speaking, family businesses are really one of the most, when they work well,
Yes.
are one of the most powerful forms of
For
business,
sure.
but especially in the wine industry, because we're a long-term business, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
not about just the next quarter. We're looking at, all right, in 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having a family horizon and a generational horizon is really helpful in the wine industry, for sure.
Yes. Mhm.
Definitely.
And would you like to see your beautiful children in it?
If they so desire,
Mm-hmm.
it would be my greatest
Would they have a
happiness.
choice?
Absolutely.
Because mine won't. Just to be
No, not
blunt.
only do they have a choice, but they actually have to do several things before
I
they
see.
can actually come back and work.
Do you believe in democracy or dictatorship in the family?
I believe in democracy personally.
Oh, good. Because I believe in dictatorship. They will have to be in the wine business. Ladies, I know you're watching. You will have to be making wine. You could do anything else you want, but wine will always be part of you.
Well, and wine will always be part of their lives. That much I
Yes.
know for sure. So whether they're in it or not as a business.
And did you, as you coming back to Napa Valley now, what is your view of Napa today, and what would you like to see happening as well in Napa Valley? You were, in a way, I know, born on the East Coast, but really
California
truly
girl. Yeah.
Californian.
You know, it's really interesting. 5 or 10 years ago, if you'd asked me,
Yes.
I would have said, excuse me, the biggest threat in Napa Valley is the lack of a next generation. And somehow, like little homing pigeons,
Sure.
in the last 5, 10 years, we've all come back.
That's great.
And, you know, we all really like each other. We
Yes.
really we get along. We enjoy each other's company. We really respect each other. We love each other's wines. So I have huge good feelings and positive optimism for the future.
Well,
of
you
Napa
make
Valley.
me think of something we should do at the Oakville Wine Merchant. And the Oakville Grocery, we should have a shelf for the next generations.
Definitely.
You know, really encouraging
Yeah.
all besides yourself. I mean, yourself, you've built a business with your parents from Accendo to before as well. So it's you're kind of one and a half.
Yeah.
But for the second or third
Yeah.
or fourth generation coming, I think it's important. Where do you see the biggest challenge for Napa Valley years ahead?
I mean, I think the biggest challenge for us is definitely going to be how we deal with climate issues.
Yes.
For sure. And, you asked what would I love to see in the Napa
Yes.
Valley, and I think you probably agree that I would love to see the Napa Valley become completely organic and
For sure.
biodynamic.
But that's a given.
Yes.
We both are, by the way.
Yes.
And neighboring vineyards, so
Absolutely.
we don't contaminate each other. We make love.
Well,
The
or
insects are
the
happy.
insects do. They are. Yes, they're
Well,
very happy.
you know.
I don't know. There was apparently someone dancing in the vineyard the other night, but we have
We won't tell you
No
the story.
photo
You need to
evidence.
come and see us. Come.
Yes, indeed. But no, and I think really how we deal with the issues around climate are going to be our biggest challenge
And
for sure.
I'd love for you to finish your Chardonnay because we got to go to some of the reds. And which one do you want to start with? Tell me.
I think we should. Yeah, let's start with the
Are you
agenda.
sure?
Yeah.
So you're giving the family first.
Precedence. Absolutely.
So all organic, that's a given. What are the other, things you'd like to see happening? Maybe, congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And welcome back.
Yes.
We delighted that finally Jamie is back to Napa Valley.
Well, we're delighted that you're here.
Well, thank you. We love France, but we love Napa Valley
Yes,
as well.
indeed.
So what do you want to see happening as a true Californians and
So in addition to the climate, and the environment, I would love to see us develop our diversity, both in our wineries and also in our client base.
that's right?
And I think, looking at how we manage our teams. We talked earlier
Yes.
about how important great teams are. And I think for a lot of years, that has extended as far as the door
Yes,
and not into the vineyard per se.
that's right.
And I think really moving forward, I think our we always say wine is made in the vineyard, and it
Yes.
is. And we need to ensure that our people are as well looked after and
Yes.
thought of as our vines.
And now, where do you see wine in America? You're a true American at first. Yes, you're French too. You've lived and seen the fabulous expansion of great food in America, probably the best in the world today.
Yeah.
From Julia Child to the chefs today, to the kitchens, to people cooking at home. Where wine?
Wine is so amazing in the United States because it almost didn't exist 50
Yes.
years ago.
That's right.
Really. I mean, to a very, very small
Yes.
upper crust. There was some French wine, maybe some Italian. The Napa Valley industry was tiny and just didn't travel very far.
Yes.
So I think the amount of knowledge and experience and acceptance that wine has gained over the last 50 years is just extraordinary. But I think we also, we have this fabulous opportunity of having, a good amount of experience
Yes.
now. We have some multi-generational businesses.
sure.
We know some sweet spots and vineyards and things like that. And we're making some beautiful wines. But we also have that dynamic energy
Yes.
that a younger, newer industry can still have. We don't have 500 requirements on our what we can and can't do and can and can't grow and anything. And not that it always turns out the way we want, but we can keep innovating. We can keep moving.
So on
forward.
that, who would you want to see drinking les Trois Noix, the three nuts? Let's describe me the table or the dance floor.
It is
or
definitely a
the
dance floor.
party.
There's definitely a dance floor. if it's
Because
Trois
those
Noix.
wines
Yep.
are very tense, which I love. They're very precise. They're very energizing.
Yeah.
So what is your dream as far as when you conceive a wine as a painting? Do you write down the script as you would the play in theater? Do you define? Because I do. I, for me, envision the people before I make the wine or stylize the wine. So what's your process in terms of imagining this
Yeah.
phenomenal series of wine to the people enjoying it? Give us a sense of.
I'm a little
closing
more,
my eyes.
I'm a little more organic. So I think I start with what nature's giving me
Yes.
and sort of start to think how...
So you start from receiving.
Start from receiving.
Okay.
Start from receiving and sort of thinking about what that's going to... what the potential of that can
Great.
be.
I see.
But then, yeah, I want to have, you know, the people around my table and on my dance floor.
Yes.
I want them to be great, fun, fabulous, smart people who want to make a difference in the world and who understand that what we're doing here is not just making great wine. We're actually trying to be a vector for change in our communities. We're trying to do things in a responsible, thoughtful way. And so, yeah, people who are a little aware,
I love it.
I think.
That's great. And what did you want to create with this unbelievable wine that we just had in that fabulous bottle shape?
Yes.
Which is, and I didn't say
Similar.
Aubryon innocently.
It's called an Eleanor.
Yes, the Eleanor
From Aubryon. No, but it's the
Yes.
Eleanor. It's the Eleanor.
from Sabre Glass, which makes this beautiful bottle. And we're joking because this is kind of the coded Aubryon bottle shape, which we love and we use too. So give us your vision here, because from the name, tell us about the name and what your new venture as a family wanted to achieve here, because I commend you, and I need to say that to your parents, who I love, you know, phenomenal parents and great inspiration. It's never easy in life to have one success, to start another one, and another one, and to really deeply mean what you want to do.
For sure.
And achieve what is in your heart, and they have with you and your brother. So, félicitations.
Merci. No, I think, you know, the thing that's incredible, and back to a great team, right? We have the most phenomenal winemakers. Françoise Pechon's been with us since 1993.
Great.
Nigel Kinsman since 2010. So we're a family, you know, we're an extended family. And I think what we wanted to do with this, you know, we knew what we could do with one Grand Cru vineyard.
Yes.
So the challenge was, what could we do if we had 5 or 6 that we could actually blend with in that sort of older, and you'll appreciate this, those older Napa cabs from the 50s, 60s, 70s that were just these extraordinary, and even today are just fabulously elegant and fresh and beautiful and so pure. There's a real sense of purity, I think, in those wines. And that's certainly our inspiration. Mm-hmm. And then you have this incredible opportunity to have 30 years history to call on, you know, to have this incredible repository with my parents of you know, insanely talented and successful, beautiful Napa winemaking.
And a little bit of a Frenchman influencing it. Michel is part of what you do.
Michel Roland, absolutely.
Michel, you know, again, you part of this.
Definitely.
It's a lot of credit.
Yes.
But you deserve it. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, he comes over 3 times, normally comes over 3 times a year and works with us on blending, because he is... He's a blender like I've never seen before in my life. I mean, it's extraordinary what he is able to do.
So, dear friends, remember, you're going to have to get this wine as well. It's part of your collection, and they all are. But I cannot wait, frankly, because I'm getting nuts. Nuts 1, nuts 2. I got 3 nuts.
There are 3.
I was born a little differently. I have 3, I need to acknowledge. 3 eyes and 3 nipples. I didn't mean 3 nuts necessarily. I meant 3 nipples, like James Bond's enemy. Do you remember?
Yes.
He has one in the back or somewhere else.
It's supposed to be very macho in some Latin cultures.
Oh, it is. Mm-hmm. Wow. So.
We'll do very well in Mexico.
Oh, I'm going. So, Jamie, all that being said, what inspires you?
Mm-hmm. Wow. So many things.
Yes, I know.
I mean, I think...
I could see the energy. Dear friends, I feel the energy. She is radiating of excitement.
No, I think one of my joys is to find inspiration everywhere.
Yes.
Really. Whether it's in a conversation or a view or the tiniest little thing, I think... inspiration's everywhere if we just open our eyes and look.
Yes.
So.
And where is for you everywhere? Where's that little place that you and open up to us in that because, for me, I see it thanks to people. Mm-hmm. People inspire me. If I'm alone, often you may think I get a lot of ideas. I do thanks to the people I've met throughout that day or that week. I truly get everything I do thanks to people.
Absolutely. I'm a natural extrovert, and all my energy and it's not even necessarily that the ideas come from people, but I think you have an idea, and then when you're able to talk to someone about it, all of a sudden it gets better. You can increase and improve.
That's it.
On whatever you could do separately. And that sort of collaboration, I think, is super important.
Tell us about your passion besides wine.
My passion.
Besides wine and theater, before we get to the next one, because I know some of you want to deal with the inauguration, but this is the inauguration of a new wine in Napa Valley.
There you go.
This is about, now, le Trois Noix.
Les Trois Noix.
So what's your...
I'm passionate about what I do every day.
Yes.
Really seriously. I know that's kind of a dorky thing to say.
No,
but
it's not. It's
completely
great.
true. Passionate about
But you
family.
found your passion.
I did.
I
did. I'm passionate about anything having to do with the ocean, above or below.
Really?
I love being at the beach. I love being under the water. I am a passionate scuba diver. And so anytime I can get to the ocean, I'm very, very happy.
As above, so below.
And dancing.
Ooh. Shall we give a demonstration? Maybe as we say goodnight, you show me a little twist.
Oh, no. Well, but definitely, I think there are dance floors in our future.
Oh, fantastic.
For sure.
Well, I cannot wait till we can host the most amazing parties again. We were planning the auction, so what's going to happen?
Well...
so, dear friends, for you to know, and many of you around the world don't necessarily know, the Araujo family was leading this amazing wine auction. Sadly, year one, pandemic. Year two, pandemic. So we were going to be one of the hosts with the barrel auction at Raymond Vineyards.
I know.
We built a new road for it. Oh. Here we go. So now we have a road to no end. We
have a great road. But everybody's going to be knocking down your door, I feel certain, as soon as we're back open again. But no, it's interesting. It was very disappointing and frustrating. We'd been working on this for almost a year. We're so excited to be able to do something that does such a lot of good in our community. And it got canceled. So, I'm really proud of the Napa Valley Vintners in a lot of ways, because I think instead of saying, okay, we can't do it now, we'll just push it back. We can't do it now, we'll just push it back. They actually sat back and said, okay, hang on. Maybe the universe is telling us something. We've done this for 40 years. Maybe there's a better way to do this.
Yes.
Maybe there's a better thing to be doing. And so what we're doing right now, actually at the moment, and I think you're probably going to be getting a phone call from somebody to be in one of the teams. Okay.
Hello, Blakesley.
I was going to say, Blakesley.
We love you.
But she snagged you. You were on my list, but she snagged you first. So that's fine. That's fine. But I'll remember Blakesley.
I will be delighted to think about it. It's very important.
So we're getting groups of people together, both in the wine business and outside. Some of our bidders and attendees who've come over the years, some of our hospitality people around the valley, to get together in small teams and just
to rethink,
brainstorm, and think about what we could possibly do that will,
And I obviously have a lot of ideas. Needless to say, in Burgundy this year, as you know, and you read, we had a record, and it was only online and digitally done. So, dear friends, stay tuned. We'll have a lot of news on this one.
Definitely.
But now, to keep Jamie answering questions, because sometimes we need to. What's your dream, for God's sake?
Oh, my dream.
Besides loving another Frenchman. She loves Frenchmen. It's a habit.
You know, it does happen. Wow, my dreams.
It could be a dream for Napa Valley, a dream for your kids, a dream for you, a dream for... I know you want to dance naked in the vineyards, which you're welcome to do under the stars on full moon.
Absolutely. It's just for biodynamics.
So,
it's just for biodynamics.
For sure. We call the spirits.
Exactly. No, I think my dreams are to keep advancing with my teams and really see us do great things.
Yes. And see Napa Valley, obviously, move forward.
Well, the Robert Mondavi, a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think that's so true.
And I would go beyond, frankly, Jamie, it's all about California. Whether it's Napa, Sonoma, Alexander Valley, Dry Creek, Central Coast, which is booming,
Santa
Paso
Barbara,
Robles. We want to see wine in general. As a Frenchman, I got to tell you, I'm urging all of us to have a glass of wine tonight.
Yes.
Not just on both coasts, but all over the U.S., right? And enjoy wine.
Absolutely. No, and I think, you know better than most what happens if you maintain that parochial border around your region.
Yes.
And it becomes a very difficult thing later to...
That's right. We want to make sure that the world enjoys great wines. And I agree with you. It's one of my dreams as well. So now, this wine.
Yes. Yay.
I love both, but I got to tell you, dear friends, vin de garde, yes, we want to keep those. They're in the cellar. I'm going to give you my opinion.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
And your dad and Daphne, don't be mad at me because I have both in my cellar at this stage and at the Oakville Grocery. I love it. This is so enjoyable now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and that's what it's meant to be. Trois Noix is meant to be enjoyed now. It's meant to be really vin de plaisir. But,
Cabernet.
Yeah, Cabernet. A little Cabernet Franc.
Yes.
And a tiny bit of Petit Verdot. And this is 2017.
Yes.
Which was the first year we had big fires.
But great, though.
We harvested everything before the fires.
Feminine, beautiful cleavage, refined, sophisticated.
Yeah, it's got...
I got to say, very elegant.
Elegant. We keep that minerality and a little bit of the, I really love in both wines, actually, and I think this is something that our family generally, and me specifically, are focused on the savory notes in wine.
Yes.
I think people sometimes forget those. They get so caught up in the sweet and the floral and the fruit, and that they forget that there are wonderful savory notes, and the two go together to give you something that's more complex and more balanced. So that's one of the things I really love with this wine. You get some of those almost like a little eucalyptus or bay leaf, and then some cedar box. But then you get that beautiful fruit as well. More. So it's pretty.
Does that represent really the three nuts? Is it what you want it to be?
Yes.
And there's three wines, three nuts.
I won't put a bottle on the table if I'm not proud.
So we got to promote them as a 3-pack. A tray pack.
A little bit of something for everyone.
Yes, I love it. So now, Jamie, you cannot escape to tell us, what is your wildest dream? The dream you've never shared with anyone. Even your parents, your brother, your husband, your children, your ex-husband, your lover, your second lover, whoever she is or he is, or he's 2 legs, 4 legs, whatever you do.
Wow.
Wildest. Be wild.
World domination, obviously.
Oh, for sure. Well, that's already happening.
There we go.
So from there, where do we go? So then, as you escape very nicely, you see how women are so talented. And I'm not going to go back there. Give us a big message. Tonight is inauguration night.
Yes.
We have America is the essential, my favorite nation in the world. Yours as well with France, and we share the same love of both countries.
Yes.
And before even I get to my last questions, give me your thoughts of France and the U.S. and how much they play on one another.
Well, it's so interesting. I think, Napa and Bordeaux is a great example.
Yes.
Right? It was, we have phylloxera. Okay, you can have our rootstock. Oh, we just lost all our vines, so you can have our... it's gone back and forth and back and forth so many times.
From 1896 to 1997 to back and forth.
Back and forth. And again, I think it's just so wonderful that the California wine industry now, the United States in general, but California specifically, has really kind of gotten to a place where it's sort of not trying to mimic anyone else.
Yes.
It's sort of standing on its own 2 feet and not saying, we're trying to be Burgundy or Bordeaux, but we're actually really proud to be Napa, Sonoma, Paso Robles, Santa Barbara, whatever. And I think, that's really fun. And I have so many friends, as you do, in
Yes.
France who make wine.
Yes.
And we really love trying each other's wines. And I
Yes.
think, to that point about conversation, two people making each other better, right? I think if we can actually share those things together, we all benefit.
That's
and
right.
we all can learn something from each other, for sure.
So our own identity, both.
Yeah.
Both amazing. So, big question. What is your message? You got to look deep into the camera and you got to send a big message to all our
message?
friends out there, from your
Big
parents to your brother to your children to whoever you're talking to, as a big message for 2021.
All right. So my big message for 2021 is that you can't go wrong by being kind. And you can't go wrong by being generous. And you can't go wrong by being thoughtful. And the world's a better place if you do all three.
I will drink to this idea and I will apply. Thank you so much, Jamie, for being
Thank
with
you
us.
so much, Olsha.
Happy Inauguration Day.
Happy Inauguration Day.
Happy Kindness Day 2021.
Chin chin.